Hello, my name is Rex and welcome to my first ever video, or my first video in a very long time. I've not made a video in so long, but I decided to make a comeback with a very anticipated release of Manor Lords, a game I have been waiting for since it was probably first announced, so we're talking years. If you're watching this, you've probably got an interest in Manor Lords. I've already set up a new game. I've got my coat of arms set up, something nice and simple. I've got my name, Athelstan, and I've picked my player portrait. So we're going to hit that continue button. I'm happy with the game setup. We've got raiders, we've got AI, with balanced aggressiveness, normal starting conditions. So we're going to hit begin. Ooh, some beautiful artwork in this. So for the first episode, I've played a few times. I think I've done about 4 towns. One of them has been relatively successful. So I'm going to go over what I've learnt, so I can hopefully educate some players, because it is a very steep learning curve. It does have some bugs, but it is early access, and I'm very sure these will be ironed out in the future as more content is introduced. So we've started a new game. You might have started a new game and think, what am I looking at here? There's trees, there's grass, there's tents. What do I do? Okay, so the first thing I would look at when I start a new game is the resources that are available within my region and where I have started. So in my region, I can see I've got berries over here. I've got wild animals over here. I've got some stone. I've got some clay, and I've got some iron. Now, you might see these have got a little crown on top. You might wonder what they are. So, if they've got a little crown on top, that means they're a rich deposit, which usually means there's more of them. So you see there, that's got 600. Now if we go over to here, that's only got 200. That's got 120. Oh, that's got 720. Okay, so that one's very rich. So yeah, if they've got a crown above, that just means they're a rich deposit and there's more of it. The thing that concerns me about where we started is there's only 173 iron. Now iron is quite crucial, because as you can imagine, in medieval times, they're making swords and spears and armour, and if there's not a lot of iron, they can't make a lot of armour. So we might have to look at trade for that, but that's a bridge that I'll cross when the time comes. So you see over here, there's a rich iron deposit, which has got 1,804, and then with it being rich, we can also do something else as well and set up a deep mine, which means it never gets depleted. So I'm going to look at the map, and I'm just going to see. So we have started on the far right hand side corner, right next to the AI. So it could be a little bit concerning, might not be, who knows. The AI at the minute is super aggressive in a sense that it will claim these regions very, very quickly, before we've even had a chance to get enough influence to claim one. And I'll go over how we obtain influence as I play. So, we're first starting. Let's see what the new message is. I will unite these lands under my rule, you goddamn right. So, we start with homeless tents, leaving people homeless. We start with 1 ox and a hitching post. We start with some wood. We start with some basic supplies. 20 bread, 20 firewood, 20 stone, 10 tools. So the 20 bread and 20 firewood, they are essential resources for our people, which you can see up here how long it'll last, where the little barrel is. 4 months it'll take before supplies run out and our people begin to starve. So our first priority, especially before the first winter, so if you see down here you can see the different months. Winter, we want to get ourselves somewhat comfortable so we're not having to worry. So So in order to do that, we need to secure A, our firewood, and B, our food supply. Once those are sorted, we can then focus on the rest of the game. So let's figure out how we're going to do that and where we're going to plan our village. So a lot of things in this game are killed by commute time. So what I mean by commute time is the time it takes for people to go from their houses, get all their essential needs, get to their workplace, do some work, and that vicious cycle. So let's have a look where we're going to start. So we've got berries over here and our wild animals over here. Our wild animals will sort of provide us a steady income of meat and hide. So if you can see up here, you've got loads of different types of resource categories. You've got construction, you've got food, you've got fuel, you've got crops, you've got crafting materials, commodities, and military, which is your armor and swords and blah blah blah. So the other thing that we want to look at is if we click the little hammer construction and we look at the overlay, we can see what fertility we've got within our land. So you can see here we've got some good fertility for emmer. Emmer is wheat. Flax, oh, we haven't really got any good spots for flax. There is good spots in the next region over, so that's could be something to bear in mind. Barley, we haven't got any good fertility for barley. We've got some good fertility for rye. So, what is emmer? Emmer is wheat. That's all it is. Rye is like the wheat equivalent, but it's a bit more hardy, so it can grow in harsher conditions, etc., etc. Okay, so let's figure out where we want to get our village set up. Now, this is a bit of a pain because it's right on the outskirts of a village, of the woodlands. So if we were to build anywhere around or near this circle, it will cause the animals to migrate, which isn't a massive issue. It just means they move somewhere to another spot on the map, which could not be a necessarily bad thing. However, if they then go from there all the way over to this corner, that's a big commute time, that, if we were to set up our village here. So let's think about where we want our village. Now, I really like the fact we've got a proper cliff face in here, which could make for some very cinematic battles. You can imagine it now, enemies coming down here, my troops are waiting here, archers on top, firing down, pew pew pew. Oh, amazing. Archers are a little bit redundant at the minute, they don't really do a lot of damage, but I'm very excited for their capabilities in the future. I think we should start here, potentially. The other issue we've got is when raiders come, obviously they come from the outskirts of the map. So if I was to build here, they were to come in here, it won't take them long to get to my village. Whereas if I was to build over here, there's some commute time there. Same if they were to come over here, there's some commute time there. What's the land looking like over here? It's not very flat over here. It's a little bit flat over here. I'll tell you what, let's just stick with here. Let's do it here. Okay. So, one thing I also didn't mention was bandits. So throughout the game, as long as there's unclaimed territories, maybe even in some claimed territories, because I have had it happen, bandit camps will appear. Bandit camps are low-level enemies, usually 16 of them, not very well equipped. Oh, you can see the little bandits here. Now, defeating the bandit camps will give you honour. Influence, sorry. Well, it will give you honour. Well, no, it will give you influence. So, influence are required for diplomacy and pressing claims. It's not really too required for diplomacy at the minute because diplomacy is still being worked on, but I can imagine it's something that will be implemented in the future. The other important thing that they'll give you is either regional wealth or treasury wealth. So regional wealth and treasury wealth are two very different things. Regional wealth is wealth related to your region. Treasury wealth is wealth that is related to you. So the difference between it is regional wealth can be used for trade and importation, etc, etc. Treasury wealth can be used for mercenaries. So mercenaries will cost 45 upfront cost and paid upfront for each month of service. Then you've got 60, 15. So those are just local thugs, people you find in your local tavern. So let's figure out where we're going to start. I think I'm going to start over here. Now, I've seen a lot of people in this game build mega cities, big metropolises. I personally don't think the game is designed for big cities, not at least yet, and not in its current state. I can imagine as we get more content in the future, you know, proper castles and etc, etc, we'll probably move more into cities and blah blah blah. But as you can see here, each region is focused on different things. So this could be mining, because you've got a rich deposit of iron, a rich deposit of clay. Over here you've got a rich deposit of wild animals, so hunting, etc, etc. So the idea is that each region is specialised for each thing that you need, and I can imagine in the future you'll probably have a capital region. So I'm going to try and build as realistic as I can to medieval villages, and that is they're not very built up, they're quite sprawled out, and yeah, let's just see how we do. So I'm going to start with so let's start with a road coming from here. So something else that's cool, if you hold control while you're placing roads, use your scroll wheel, you can adjust the curvature. It's a little bit finicky sometimes, just trying to find the best or the most suitable curvature. So you see that? That's a big... Put it there. That looks good. And then we'll have... I like the idea of having a curvature. Build in 2 seconds. So let's have a... See, I wish it was easier to build circular roads. Ah, yes, that is a circle. No. That looks awful. Aha, I have an idea. Let's do construction, logistics. Place a hitching post. Delete. Aha, circle. So I'm going to get rid of this road. Do something like this. There we go, that looks good. And then we'll have a road coming off in this direction, I think. That looks good. Yeah, something like that. So, first buildings that you should pick. and this could quite literally be the make or break of your village and how you're going to struggle. So the first buildings I always go for, and a lot of people might think it'd be houses, and a lot of people might think it'd be farms. No. Farms take a very, very long time to get set up and be effective. Houses, they can live without houses for a little bit, they've got little tents. I would highly recommend a logging camp, a woodcutter's lodge. So a logging camp will give us wood, a woodcutter's lodge will give us firewood. I would also build a hunting camp, because that will give us our meat and hides, and that will give us our berries from the forager hut. Now the foraging is a little bit out, but if I was to place the forager hut here, they would go to their place of work, they will do some foraging, going back, and then go back to the village, so it's not too bad. So let's think about where we want to have some mass deforestation. I'm going to say we're going to have some mass deforestation over here. Let's do it over here. So if you don't know how to rotate things, if you click when you're placing, hold the left button, move your mouse, you can make it do some interesting things. So let's put this there, I think, yeah. So that is not too far of a commute, so I'm happy with that. There we go. Right, a woodcutter's lodge. Now, this is something interesting. So a logging camp will obviously chop down trees to obtain logs. A woodcutter's lodge will also fell trees in order to get firewood. They don't use the same, so if they were to chop down a tree, the woodcutter's lodge are not going to then use that chopped tree to create the firewood, which is good because it doesn't cause a bottleneck in your timber. So I think we should try and keep these as local as possible. So I'm going to put these up here and maybe have a road which comes down here. Yeah, I'm happy with that. And then let's get our hunting camp. So there we go, overlaps animal habitat will cause migration. I wonder where they'd migrate to. Tell you what, I'm not going to risk it. I'm not going to risk it, at least not yet. So let's put our hunting camp there. Take some of the curvature out. There we go, so that's our hunting camp placed, and our forager hut, which I think I'm just going to pop there. There we go. So, we've got our forager hut placed, we've got our hunting camp placed, we've got our woodcutter's lodge, and we've got our logging camp. Now, before we hit the play button, there's a couple of other things that I'd probably want to do. So, the hitching post. Some buildings, if you click on them, you can click the relocate. So we can actually relocate this. And I'm going to move this here. For the simple reason that this ox is probably going to be used most for the logging camp. So I want it somewhere close to the logging camp, but also to my village. The other thing that I'll do, and I recommend this, so you start with 50 regional wealth, which isn't a lot, However, that can afford you... Where have I just put it? Oh, there it is. Oh, it won't let me click it. So that will afford you one more ox at 20 silver, and it can afford you 2 vegetable gardens at 15 silver. So this next ox I'm going to put there for now. I can always move it in the future, and I'm hitting play. So now we will see our little people spring into action. Oh, it's such a beautiful game, look at this. There's our big boy. He's called Ott. Ott the Ox. Good man, Ott. So there they go, they're grabbing the wood. So, while that's doing, at the minute, we have 5 unassigned families. So you don't assign individual people, you assign entire families to a production chain or a building or a line of work. So, take a sip of my tea. At the minute, we don't have any assigned. We always want to leave at least one unassigned family for building, because there isn't a dedicated line of work for building at the minute. So we always want to make sure that we've got at least one unassigned, so they can build and do our construction. So, where's he taking that wood? Where's he going? He's right here. There he is. So, at least one family will control the ox for the time being. There's not a specific assignment, but that's what he's doing. And his job will just be to move the required timber to the relative building spaces. So, this requires 2 timber. This requires 1 timber. This requires... Oh, this is finished, I think. Oh no, it's not. Never mind. This requires no timber. This requires 1 timber, etc, etc. So he'll use the ox to move the timber over and over, and he'll prioritise on where he's going. So, the other things that we can look at, public order, that's not really a thing at the minute. Or at least I have not noticed it being a thing. I can imagine if your approval, which is here, gets too low, then you probably will get some public order issues. So approval, this controls your population growth. So at the minute it's sitting at 50%. This will go down because they're homeless and they haven't got any luxury items, which means population isn't going to grow. So the first priority after securing our first winter is getting our approval up, so then we can start attracting more population, because more in population is very important for lots of key reasons. One, so we've got more families to assign and we can maximise our production chains. And 2, so we can start building our army. So, right, this might take a little while they're moving their respective little bits and bobs. Because look, he's moving this timber all the way over here, and he's still got 2 to move yet. The other thing that you can do as well is you can change the construction priority. So at the minute everything will be sitting on medium. But if I was to hit high, they're probably going to start moving over towards and building that now. Yep, there they go. We're moving over. So I'm going to hit that fast forward. Boom, built. So, hunting limit. So I can see here, oh, we've got a new message. I have heard of your renown. I only seek to defend my rights and my honour against those who would wrong me. Hope you will not judge me by the rumours and slanders that some may spread about me. Signed and sealed by my own seal, Hildebolt von Baru. Oh, that's probably not the right way to pronounce that. I'm going to write back. So we've got some options here. You have no rightful claim to Selspitz and Hofsten. I require silver for my endeavours, and your time has come. That's the only one we can afford right now, so I'm going to send that back. Bye. So, hunting limit. It's currently set at 10, which is good because our wild animals have a maximum population of 20. And we want to leave some so they can breed and repopulate. So I really wouldn't suggest changing that any lower than 10, or half of what the population is. So we're going to assign our first family. Assign family. There you go. They've sprung into action. They're creeping. Firing. Oh, they got him. Look at that. Bless his soul. And now he's going to generate us some meat and hide. Brilliant. So I'm going to hit fast forward until we get some more things built. Aha! So, here's an interesting notification. A family requests more market area for their stall hunting camp. So that'll be for the food for the meat. Now we want to decide how we're going to place our buildings and where we're going to get set up our main town centre. So this road here, I'm going to expand this. I'm going to have it connected to this one. So we've got a lovely triangle. With a little roundabout at the top. So our first housing points, or you know what, I don't know how you pronounce this. Burgage? We're just going to call it housing plots, save the embarrassment. So, you see it snaps to the roads. I'm going to say our first houses, we want to have a decent amount of backyard space. So, I'm going to say, if we do, let's do it here, I think. So, you can see here, this is a decent sized housing plot because we've got space for a main house. We've got space for an additional living space, which could be handy, so this entire housing spot can house 2 families. And it's got an okay sized backyard, it's not massive, but you can get ridiculous with the backyard size. Oh, look at that. Massive. So, going back to what I said before, regional wealth can be used for a number of things. 15 regional wealth will get you a vegetable farm. That vegetable farm will remain the same cost if it was this size, or if it was this size. Massive. It will always be 15 regional wealth. Now, I can imagine that will probably change in the future, or it might change in the future, but who knows, we'll cross that bridge when the time comes. So, I'm going to have the first house here, I think. Let's have... tell you what, let's have it down here.
Fresh start for me and my own.
Yeah, let's have it there. And then I'm going to have a second one. Oh, we can't do it yet because we've not got enough goods. So if you haven't got enough timber, it won't let you build it. So we'll come back to that, that's absolutely fine. So I'm going to hit that fast forward button. In fact, no I'm not. Marketplace. So let's figure out where we want our marketplace. Now, the marketplace can cause some issues because it's not very well refined at the minute, or at least it might just be a misunderstanding of how it works. So the marketplace is like the central hub where it will distribute your produced goods to your people, which are food, clothing, and firewood. So if we were to have a marketplace here, for example, the houses within the immediate vicinity will probably be well supplied because they've got immediate access. And the houses out here might struggle because it's a little bit of a further distance, and the supply might be getting eaten up by the closer houses. So it's not necessarily a bad thing to have more than one marketplace. We also want a well within our village. Now, the well, I could put one here and it will supply water to the entire region, which again I can imagine will be refined at some point. But we're just going to plonk this down here. I think that'll be fine. Marketplace. So let's have a look. I think I'm going to have the marketplace here. So you can see that gives us space for 8, 12 market spots. But there is a little bit of a way to cheese it, and I'll show that at a later date. So we're going to put our market there for now. We can always move it. The other key buildings that we want to look at when we first start is a granary, a storehouse, and a trading post. So a trading post, once we get that set up and we start exporting some goods, that will give us a help us start generating regional wealth. The other thing that I'll probably look at is a tannery as well. So these are sort of like the next key buildings, because the tannery will start using the hides that we've gathered, turn them into leather, which will in turn give us our first level of clothing for our citizens. So we've got our main sort of buildings placed and a sort of rough idea of how our village is going to start. So that is going to be my first video right there. Please, please, please make sure that you like, comment and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. If you don't, that's absolutely fine. Just leave me a suggestion in the comments and I'll have a read and I'll change my videos accordingly. Thank you for watching me play the first part of Manor Lords, and I hope to see you in the next episode. Take care guys, bye bye.